Hello, friends. Welcome and welcome back to Penny's Art Corner. I'm Penny D, and I'm here to share with you another Rach and Bella Crafts design team project. For the month of May, the design team has been tasked with the challenge of using mixed media with all of our projects. The first week's group did wet and dry projects, and this week, my design team group is doing collage. So, um, I'm going to just work with the things that I have on my desk and see what we come up with. This is a collage mixed media tag that I tried out. I've got a ribbon, some stickers, a little bit of coffee stained gauze, and I use some mixed media texture paste here in the corner, and then I have a little dangle. And then for this tag, also I use the texture paste, some gesso fabric over here, and then I stamped the back. So mixed media does tend to make us a little bit nervous, but in the art world, anytime you use two different items, you're using mixed media. So if you use paper and you ink the edges, you're already doing mixed media project. So today I just gathered up the things that were handy on my desk, and we'll see how many of these elements we can use. I have a stencil I'm going to be using for my base. This is just a file folder, and I cut these tags down to 4 inches wide by 7 inches tall. And then I've also got two journal cards that measure round about 4.5 inches. I've got some fussy cuts, floral fussy cuts, a few little pieces of scraps. I did make two dangles to put on whatever we finish. Got a little bit of fabric, some stickers, and then I have this pile of scraps, which includes a treat bag. And the only thing I've done to prep for this is cut this treat bag open to make it easier to tear. Some old book page, and then these are just scraps from the projects that I've done recently. This is from the Rach and Bella Spring Collage Kit. So is this one, this pretty paper, this page also. These are from their Spring Collage Kit. And I'll put the link to that down in the description box. And the rest of these pages are just scraps out of my scrap box. So we'll get this stuff out of the way and find some glue and see what we can stick together. I also have some gesso here. Gesso is just really white acrylic paint that has a little bit of a texture to it. You can use it to cover things with when you're on your page, like if you where'd my page go? So this here I gessoed over this, and it just makes it a little opaque so that you could use it as a writing, or it also makes other things stick to it a little better. That's called giving your project tooth. Just a little bit, it just feels a little bit matte and dry. So it just adds an extra layer of texture. And if you wanted to use that on a page that was covered in like a print, you could just put a layer of gesso there, and when it dries, you could write on top of that. And I also have some texture paste. So let's see what we can find here. I hope you're all well and enjoying your day. Today's Tuesday that I'm filming this. I'm not sure what day it'll go up, probably Thursday in March, but of course you could be watching this anytime. So I'm just going to start by just sticking things down to my paper. We'll see where we go. I'm not a very good winger. I like to have everything kind of planned out. This is against the grain, but one of the reasons I wanted to start a YouTube channel was to kind of push myself creatively and to examine the things that I am resistant to so that I could, grow personally and creatively. I think it's really important as we take time for ourselves to examine those things that we resist and might say no to, and figure out what is that resistance coming from, and how can I be more open to change and to trying new things. And I think that's where our personal growth comes from in almost any area, whether it be hobbies or work or with your children. Let's see. There's one down. What do you think of that? Lost my scissors here. I don't know how I lose these big honking scissors. What are you working on in your journals? I'd love to know in the comments. I'd like it if you'd interact a little bit with me so I can get to know you better. I missed that little end right there. Okay, there's one. Let's start with this baggie over here on the next one. There goes the glue. Remember, we're supposed to count how many times Penny drops the glue. Oh my gosh, my first video, I think I dropped the glue. I must have knocked it over 10 times. Oh, there it goes again, all the way to the floor. At least I'm keeping my average up, right? Okay, let's see. Let's put some of this pink on here. Are you using collage in your journal work? Do you do it with your tags or on pieces that you might like? One thing someone did show me is that if you tear back and forth like this, when you tear your papers, you get a more interesting edge. And then when you go to ink that side, let me show you, you get more of a diverse kind of edge for your ink, because when you tear forwards and backwards, see how you get a little bit more white exposed there? That'll pick up your ink a little in a different way than if you just tear in one straight row. So just something to think about for a little bit of difference. Stick this one up here. What else do I have? It's a little bit of ledger. Collaging seems like it's a very basic tear it up and stick it down thing, and of course in this case that is exactly what I'm doing. But you want to, when you're thinking it out and you're kind of planning a little bit ahead, you want to look for contrast, and you want to look for elements that are going to go together, and what kind of different elements you can use. And we will get to adding some of those here in a shake. Just stick this little piece of fabric on here, I think. And glue stick does hold fabric. This is, I'm using a Scotch permanent glue stick, and as far as I can tell, it seems pretty permanent. Nothing that I've used it on has come apart. So and I need need one more little piece on there. One thing I would be interested in knowing from you as a watcher, do you like it when people speed up through the processes of inking and gluing and those kind of things, or do you prefer to watch the whole thing? For me, sometimes when people speed their videos up, it makes me feel a little anxious, and I want my crafting time to be slow and intentional, and I'd sort of prefer to fast forward it on my own. And you can do that by, if you're on your phone, you can just put your thumb on the right hand side of the screen and press down, and that will fast forward the video. So I would like to know if you prefer, when people fast forward, or just for my own curiosity, what your preference is. I know a lot of people do fast forward through inking and cutting. Sometimes they fast forward through prep. Okay, there's two. That one they look really different. Interesting. All right, let's see what we can do to this last one. Okay. Just going to hang that off the edge a little bit so I can cut that white part off. Across there, a little bit of book page here. This book page is very brittle, and it just soaks that glue up right away. It sticks right down. Let's see, here's a little bit of packaging. It's one thing I have all around my craft room is packaging that I haven't been using. So let's say I stuck a little bit in there. Let's see, got any more pink? A little strip right there. It's not that extra glue. Okay, and want something for the top. Here's whoops. All right, that's pretty haphazard. Oh my goodness. All right. All right, so we've got three really different tags. We've got one that's mostly neutral, one that's a little bit darker, and one that's kind of a mishmash there. So I think what I'd like to do is just gesso at least one of these so that you can see the effect of it, and then we'll make a focal point. Whenever you do collage and you want to put something on top and get your focal point going, that's one way that gesso can kind of mute out that center. So as you can see when I'm applying it just in a thin layer, you can still see the book page, the writing underneath. We're just going to put a little bit here in the middle and let that dry for a second, and then we'll come back and look at it. And I think on this one we can use a little texture paste down there in that dark corner. So I'm going to use this stencil for that. This is just a 3-cornered stencil. I think let's just use this big half here. So texture paste just has a frosting-like consistency. You can make your own texture paste. If you look on Pinterest, there are a lot of recipes on there for that. You can also color this with just a drop of paint, or if you have refills for your distress ink, you can use those. Just put a drop in and just mix it up, and you can color your texture paste, and that's always fun. You just want to spread it in. You can make it as thin or as thick as you want to. Just spread it right across your stencil or whatever object you're distressing through. You can just apply it on its own and give it a wavy texture, or add that as an element to your project. Just spread it on like butter. Ooh, that looks pretty. And then all you have to do to wipe that stencil is just use warm soapy water, and it comes right up. I like that. That looks neat. Then let's see, what else can we do? I guess we could put some up in the other corner. Just give it a little bit of schmooze up here in this corner too. So I'd just like to challenge you this week to think about what kind of projects you might be resistant to, and say yes to one of them. Give one new thing a try that's going to make your crafting a little bit more fun and exciting. How about this one? I have some stamps here. We've got some good, we could try some stamping on this one. Stamps and I are not the best of friends, but we'll give it a shot. How about that? Got my little butterfly on there. Ooh, pretty. Yay, it came out. I always either smear it or I don't get it on there evenly. You must be bringing me luck today. Try this little butterfly up here in the corner. Not too bad. And let's see. Try this one up here. Pretty. And then what else can we put on this one? I have a sticker. Just trying to use all the different things so that mixed media doesn't feel so scary. Doesn't look too bad. This little sticker here. I have so many stickers. Are you a sticker hoarder also? I'd love to know what you're hanging on to that you're not using, waiting to save it for just the right project. Okay, let's come back to this one. So you can see how this is dried a little bit lighter. You can still see all the way through. It has that matte feel, which is called the tooth, and that's kind of like a gripper. So if I were to, put a sticker or stamp on this, it would be, it would hold really well. Or if you're going to write on it with any kind of pen, that would also it'd be easy to write on and be well seen. I'm just going to put some of these foam pads behind this fussy cut. And then I just want to center that right here in the middle. That gives me a pretty focal point. And I have some ribbon here somewhere. Some. Just going to run a bead of glue up here and give it a straight pull and get that ribbon tucked right on there. And what else can we do? This one's still drying a little bit. Oops. Just think around here a little bit. Just letting some of that dry a little bit. I have some more fussy cuts here. I'd like to pick a fussy cut to go on this one. Let's see, I have that one, this one. Let's see, I've got a lot of roses. These are all from, these roses are a freebie from Rach and Bella's Billy Do collaboration last year. That purple might be pretty. And the rest of these are from the most recent Spring in Your Step kit. I think I kind of like that purple. Just ink around there just a tad. Tomorrow is the last day of school here. My grandkids are all excited about being done for the summer. Let's see. Put that right there in the middle. I have this saying also, everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. Let's see. How's that look? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, as always, if you can hear and see everything okay. I still am getting used to filming videos and figuring out what I'm doing. It's a big learning curve for sure. I know I have a lot to learn. But I hope that at least you have a better idea of the concept of mixed media. It's just any two or more elements that you're adding to your project. Any couple things, and that makes it mixed media, because you're mixing up paper, paint, stickers, distress ink, fussy cuts, ribbon. That all counts as mixed media. So um, don't be worried about it. Just jump in and give it a shot. So I'm going to just use my slot punch here, and we'll poke a little holes in there, give them some ribbon, and then see how they look. Okay, so I've just gone back through there and tied bows on each of these tags. We've got this one with the stamps, stickers, packaging tape, and a little bit of seam binding. And this one with some seam binding, a dangle, ribbon, a little bit of gesso, some foam stickies, and a fussy cut for a focal point. And then we've got this one with the mixed collage, a little fabric, the texture paste, which is drying nicely, and some baker's twine, and a little dangle. I'd love to know which one you like the best, and I'd really like it if you would let me know what you're going to try that you've been putting off maybe this week, what thing you're going to tackle. Just stretch yourself a little bit and let your creativity grow. I really appreciate you being here with me tonight, and I want to thank you for watching. I'd love it if you'd leave some comments, give me a like, and subscribe to my channel, and then you can see that hopefully I'll get better at this as I go along. I really am grateful for each one of you. Have a great night.